morning, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you're watching this or what time you are watching this live, watching this replay, or listening to this audio. My name is Cena Martin, and if you don't know who I am, I will introduce myself briefly. But hey guys, hey Facebook, I wanted to pop on here and do a live stream because I was sitting here getting some work done, finishing up a few classes with my son for his homeschooling, and today is actually day 2 of my daily self-love ritual challenge that's happening over in my private Facebook group for the women and a few men who are a part of our community, right? So if you don't know who I am, let me first introduce myself. Hey, my name is Cena Martin. I'm a confidence coach, and what I do is I help women, I help mothers find their transformation after going through some type of relationship or some type of abusive situation where it caused them to lose their confidence, forget their value, forget their self-worth, and they're living life below their means. So I help them really find that spark back in themselves and find what's missing so that they can live the life that they truly desire, right? So they can go after the life that they want to go after, and so that they can figure out that love doesn't have to hurt. So what I'm doing in this week, or what we started doing this week on Monday, was what's called my daily self-love ritual challenge. And I'll tell you that story in just a moment of how that was born or how that became a thing. But the challenge has been going amazing so far. I've had people, or women should I say, over the years who have done my daily self-love ritual, and it's caused them to start believing in themselves again. Some of them got the dream jobs they wanted to get. Some of them went on to, fall in love and get the relationship they've always been trying to find. Hello, Carlo, from the Philippines. A lot of them have gotten various transformations in their own ways. I had one woman one time who she went through the daily self-love ritual, and it caused her to have a complete change in her mindset from how her parents raised her. And she basically stopped doubting herself. She stopped questioning how much money she could make in her coaching business, and she went on to overcome one of her blocks and get her first coaching client ever after we had worked together for just a couple of months. So this has been proven, it has been tried and tested, and I have had people who have used this ritual before. So before I tell you about the challenge and like all of the exciting stuff that's happening inside of the Facebook group, let me tell you just a little bit of the story about how this came about and what is the daily self-love ritual anyway to begin with. So a few years ago, right? The exact date doesn't matter. A few years ago, I was going through a really rough time in my life. And basically what happened was I was a young mom. If some of you who know my story, or if you don't know my story, I became a mom at 17. I was a teenage mom. I became a single mother in my senior year of high school. Okay, so you can imagine, from that age up until my son was about 3 or 4, it was really, really, really hard to, find my balance. I didn't have much stability. I didn't have, much money. My family, I don't come from like a wealthy family. So I basically had to figure it out on my own. So long story short, a few years after he was born, I moved into my first home. It was my first real home that I could afford and I could rent it out. And we basically moved into this very nice home, but I was completely broken on the inside. I had gone through these years of, tug of war, trying to figure out what to do, couldn't find any balance, always jumping from job to job. It was just really hard. And I felt like I should have been celebrating because I had moved into this beautiful 3-story townhome. Some of you guys remember this. And, I felt like everything should feel good, but nothing felt good at the same time because I was so broken on the inside. I had no confidence in myself. I was depressed. I was avoiding getting dressed, nicely and putting on makeup in the daytime. Hey, son. Yeah. I'm just doing, what's going on? 1 second, guys. You need something? No. I'm just doing a live real quick and then we can finish up. It's okay. Yeah, him. So, I felt like, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So, in the day I would get up in the morning time and get him off to school and then come back home and just kind of drag around the house. Like, I didn't want to get, to the point where I made myself presentable and I had on nice clothes, and I didn't want to do my makeup in the morning. I was crying when he wasn't looking. You know the symptoms, right? When you just feel like you have no purpose, like you really don't know why you're here, and you feel like nothing can go your way. I was really broken on the inside in this wonderful, beautiful home. So what happened was I went on like that for a couple of months, dragging my feet, feeling empty, feeling unnecessary, feeling unwanted, feeling ashamed, hiding my true self, who I really was, and not really standing in just the beauty of the person that I am. I didn't know how to do it. I felt like I didn't deserve to. So what happened was that went on for a few months. And then one day, I'll never forget it, I was in my bathroom that was on the second story of the house, because it was 3 stories. And on the main floor, there was like a bathroom where a shower and everything was at. There was a really, really huge, completely just about finished basement. And there was this 3rd level to the house. It was a townhouse, beautiful, gorgeous. And I was on the 2nd story in the bathroom getting ready for the day, and something just clicked and was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have everything you could have asked for. You have your son watching you. What are you teaching him? You got to get back on your feet, and you got to figure this out. You really don't have a reason. I know you've gone through things. I know you've been evicted 2 or 3 times. By this point, I have been evicted twice. I know you've been evicted 2 times. I know you're going through hard times, but you got to get out of this funk, right? And it just kind of like smacked me in the face while I was getting ready for the day in the bathroom. So what happened was I was like, okay, I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to figure out how to get myself back to me, back to Cena, and the girl that I know that I am, the woman I know that I am. So what I did was I went upstairs. There was this old creaky wooden steps that led to the 3rd story of the townhome. And I went up these steps, like I said, old wood. And when you walked all the way up to the top story of the steps, there wasn't an attic, but there were 2 bedrooms on the opposite side of the steps. So once you went up the flight of stairs, there was a bedroom on the left and a bedroom on the right. So the bedroom on the left, I turned it into like my self-love sanctuary. And what I mean by that is I went in there, cleared out the whole room. There was nothing in there but this full body length mirror, old closet, and a really, really old bed. Like if you would have sat on the bed, it probably would have just disintegrated because it was really old. It looked like a Halloween movie, basically. But I went in there and I was like, I'm going to use this room to get myself together. So what I did was I went out and I bought 3 huge pieces of colorful construction paper. Moms, you know what I'm talking about. The stuff the kids use for their art projects in class, right? So I went and I bought 3 different color pieces of construction paper, the big ones, the poster sizes. And I cut them up into these individual squares that almost like folded open. I cut it up into individual squares, and then I folded them closed. And on the front of them, I wrote goals, what I wanted to accomplish. So I would write a goal on the front that was like an affirmation statement. For example, I want to make $1,000 by the end of October 2019, right? So I wrote that on the front of, for an example, I will write a statement on the front of this flat construction paper, and on the inside I would write in there like the date I wanted to accomplish it by and how I was going to do it. Okay, so and what I did was I took those construction papers and I put it all around the room. So I covered the walls in this room with my affirmations and goals. And every time you went in the room, people thought I was crazy. I didn't care. Not many people ever went in there other than my son and my fiance. And I covered the whole wall in affirmations and goals and things I wanted, what I wanted my life to look like, the friends I wanted, the people I wanted to meet, the type of mentors I wanted to have, what I wanted my home to look like, how I wanted to feel in my health, in my body, the money I wanted to make, like everything that I felt like my life should look like. I covered the room with that, right? So, and then what I would do was I would go into this room every morning and I would sit on the floor. I woke up in the morning, literally did my, my thing in the bathroom, wash my face, brush my teeth. I would do my morning hygiene. And then I would go upstairs directly to this room before everybody woke up, usually like 6:37 in the morning. And I would sit down in front of this mirror and I would do certain action steps, right? So I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I would do it every day. And it consisted of me talking to myself in the mirror, meditating, being quiet, reading, going around the room and reading my goals and my affirmations out loud. And I did it over and over and over and over. No lie, guys. Like I did it like a crazy person. I was so tired of struggling and things being hard, and I did it like I was a crazy person, and over and over and over again. Morning time, I would go up there. I would take my favorite candles. I would go buy my little candles from the dollar store, and I would go up there and I would do it. Nighttime, I would go back up there and do it. The next morning, I was back up there and I did it. Like it was a job. And I mean, I had this type of dedication like it was a job. And what happened was I did that for a year. Okay. I did that for at least a year in this house. And, you know, what happened was a year after that, I was moving into another house that I could have only dreamed of. I was experiencing what it felt like to be the first person in my family to make 6 figures in a year for my business. I was retired from my nursing job as a nursing assistant by 25 years old. And I felt free. I was so free. I was closer to God than I had ever been in my entire life. And I was the mother I always wanted to be to my son. Not only that, but everything I had wrote on that wall had come true. I had the relationships, I had the friends, I had the man of my dreams, like the person I'm still with right now. Everything manifested itself from me in that room for that year, repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And it just came to fruition. It totally manifested. I can't remember one thing that was on that wall that didn't come true in my life. I have some of the best friends you could ever find and some of the best mentors you could ever ask for to this day because of the work I did in that room almost 3 years ago. So that is how the daily self-love formula was birthed. It was from the work I did in that room. So I took what I did in there, those steps, the way I did it, the energy I gave to it, and I really took that formula and I created what's called the daily self-love formula. So that's how it was born. And what I'm doing this week in this challenge that's in my Confidence Catchers Facebook group is I'm taking our tribe through that formula. And I'm teaching you guys in the group how to do it. Okay, I'm teaching you guys how to do it. So today we're on day 2. Yesterday was obviously day 1, and we also had a kickoff call where I explained that story. I explained where it came from. And there's some people in the group who really want to, right, exactly, Carolyn, my upper room. That's exactly what it was. And I had some great prayers in there. Oh my gosh, I wish I would have recorded it. But so many breakthroughs, so many transformations happened in that room. And in our group this week, I'm really taking everybody through those steps of how I did it, what I did, so that you can take that exact same formula and move past whatever mountain that you're staring at right now, or whatever place that you're stuck at. Or if you're that mom that's crying when the kids aren't looking, if you're that person feeling frustrated because you don't know why you keep ending up in the same situations or in the same relationships or with the same men or with the same woman, and you're really dealing with this emptiness because you don't know how to love yourself. You don't even know how to take the steps to begin to love yourself. And you don't even recognize who you are in the mirror. Then this is literally handmade for you, because I was also in that hole, and I know what it feels like to be in that hole. I know what it feels like to feel like you don't have any purpose, and I know what it feels like to work yourself out of that by, the grace of God and the sweat of your own hands. I do. Trust me. I know what it feels like, and I know what it looks like. So in the group, like I said, we're on day 2 today. Day two's topic and theme is your intellectual self. Your intellectual self feeding your mind. So I'm just going to leave you with about 2 or 3 tips here before I go. And if you're interested at the end, don't turn off this video yet. If you're interested at the end, I'm going to tell you how to actually be a part of the challenge. It's 100% complimentary. You don't have to spend anything. You're welcome to join us. I'm inviting you actually to join us over in the challenge, because we have 5 more days to go. We're on day 2. The challenge is lasting for 7 days. Okay. So I'm going to tell you how to be a part of it right at the end. Let me take you through what today's work is, just so you can get a real live hands-on taste and see if this is something that would be of benefit to your life or to somebody else you know. Because guaranteed, if you're going through this and you have friends or you have sisters or you have loved ones who are in your circle, in your community, I can guarantee someone else you love and know is going through something similar and also needs to be a part of this challenge, right? So stick with me, stay with me for a second. Today's theme and today's lesson is entitled Your Intellectual Self Feeding Your Mind. So there's a daily declaration that I put out into the group. It's morning, midday, and night, certain steps that you do. And there's a morning declaration that you speak out. You speak over your life, just like I did to those 4 walls that were in that room. When I wrote out, what I wanted my life to look like, and I was talking as if it was I was literally calling it into my, into my life. It's the same thing in the group. Okay. So this morning's daily declaration was centered around your intellectual self and loving your intellect and feeding your mind. Too many people nowadays forget to do that part, and then they wonder why they can't grow when they're stuck. It's because you're not expanding your mental enough. You're not feeding your mind with positive things that are not only positive, but it's also going to help you grow as a person. So the first exercise on this was for you to answer the question, what are the priorities in your life? What are your priorities in your life? What's of top-notch importance to you? And there's a whole workbook. Actually, you can work through these exercises. I'll tell you also in the group, you'll find out how to get that workbook. You don't have to do anything but download it. But in the workbook, I asked you, what are your priorities in life? And I gave you 4 spaces to fill those out and list those. And then once you find out, or you identify, I should say, what your priorities are, I ask you to go through a strategy, which is to ponder or think about what you truly want your life to look like. What do you really want your life to look like? And I mean, get detailed, get deep on this. This is exactly what I did in that room, right? I really sat down and I said, what do I want my relationships to look like? How do I want to feel emotionally? What type of friends do I want to have around me to feed off of each other's energy, to experience things with? How do I want my finances and my life to look like so I can travel more? Because at this point, I hadn't been anywhere. I hadn't traveled anywhere. And now most of you guys know I travel like pretty often. So I really asked myself, what do I want my weekends to look like? I celebrate the Sabbath. Another thing, if you guys don't know about me, I celebrate the Sabbath. So does my entire family. What do I want my Sabbath days to look like? How do I want to give that honor back to God when it's his days? I got so deep about what I wanted my life to look like. And then I wrote it all down. And then once I wrote down the dreaming part, I then coupled the dream with the strategy. Okay, this is what I want my life to look like. How do I make this happen? What's the strategy? So I tell you in the workbook for today's work, actually. So the everyone who's in the Facebook group is actually doing this work today in the workbook. Ponder what you want your life to look like, and then develop a strategy to make it happen. Right? So that's the first tip, the first strategy, and the first exercise that you can even do right now, because I'm giving it to you here on this audio. And then the next one is to list your life goals. List down your life goals and focus on your top 5 goals. List your life goals and focus on your top 5 goals. And then the strategy underneath of that one is to be specific again when you write your goals. So instead of you writing, I want to get a job promotion, write, I want to complete the 4-week account, for example. Instead of just writing down, I want to get a job promotion, I want you to write down, I want to complete a 4-week accounting training, and I want to get a pay increase within 6 months from today. You see the difference? You got to get really specific. So that's the second exercise. I'm going to give you one more, then I'll tell you how to be a part of it. And I want you to also invite somebody who might want to take this challenge with you. So my favorite, actually, let me just scroll down to it. I'm looking at the workbook right now. The last one is, do you feel you deserve love? Why or why not? Do you feel you deserve love? Why or why not? And this is, again, a space where you can fill this out. You know, one of the principles and one of the pillars I have in my life is I don't believe love has to hurt. I don't believe abuse is love. I don't believe pain is love. People say, tough love. Do you need that? I don't believe that. Right? So the question is, do you believe in tough love? And do you believe that abuse is love? Or is the truth that you just don't believe that you deserve love at all? And do you treat yourself like that because that's what you believe about your reality? Why or why not? So I give you a space in the workbook to fill that out. Really go deep into that. Journal that out. Get serious and get down to the root of the thing so you can figure out if that's really where you're coming from or how you really feel. And then the strategy behind that, once you're done answering that question and getting it all out, is to recognize that you matter. And this is one thing I had to really see. And this is the one thing that changed the game for me once I saw what it was sitting in that room day after day after day, is that I had to recognize how much I really mattered and how important I really was. And the way I did it was I said to myself, if I was gone tonight, not even tomorrow, if something happened, Lord forbid, and I walked out my house and I was gone tonight, that's it. Case closed, casket closed. How many people would be affected? How many people would have to figure out what they were going to do? Then just my son. Because my son is top priority. He's number one. But how many people will be affected by that? And that's what made me realize how much I mattered. So recognize how much you matter. Ask yourself that question if you want to. You're free to take it. Because the truth is, you're here on earth because you deserve love and you deserve to be loved. Period. And I want you to actually go ahead and do that work in the workbook. So if you want access to this workbook and you're interested in taking this challenge and being a part of this challenge, all you need to do is go ahead and request to be in the Confidence Catchers Facebook group. When I get off of this, I'm actually going to put the link below so you can just click it and join us. Just join the Confidence Catchers Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group, but the entire challenge is in there. And then you can watch the replay of the kickoff call. I'll have day one's replay posted in there soon, and you can actually just go ahead and register. Just register with your name and your email to be a part of this challenge. That's it. And then you'll gain access to the workbook, the entire challenge, all of the behind-the-scenes private videos that I have in there. All that I ask from you, I'm giving you this entire challenge free of charge. All that I'm asking for you to do is to post yourself really doing the work. Be accountable. If you're going to take the challenge, do the work. Post a picture of you filling out the workbook in our private group. Take a picture of you saying your declaration. Record yourself if you want to. Make a little short 30-second video. But show that you're doing the work. Because some people are afraid to change. Some people are afraid to go after their own transformation. But they may get inspired and empowered if you show yourself doing it. If you show yourself doing it, I'll guarantee you'll inspire somebody else to do it. So join us for the Daily Self-Love Ritual Challenge that is happening all this week, all the rest of this week. Invite somebody who should really take it with you and who's looking for something like this in an accountability group where they can be honest and open and, there's no harm, no foul done, and they have a trusted space where they can work on their personal development for real. Okay, so I love you guys. That's it. I'm going to get back to work. I just wanted to share this. If you know somebody who would benefit from this video, invite them over to the challenge. Invite them over to the Facebook group. Share this with them and be blessed. I love you very much. I'll see you soon. Bye.